You are now tuned into the Black Law Students Association of Canada's YouTube.
So welcome everybody to the BLSA Canada Fireside Chat series. My name is Katya Assoé. I am a Communications Committee member and an LLB graduate. Today, I am joined by the illustrious, the amazing Maître Médgine Gourdet, a civil and commercial litigator at Robinson Sheppard Shapiro. Maître Gourdet founded the University of Montreal BLSA chapter and was recently selected as a finalist in the civil and commercial litigation category of the Young Bar of Montreal's Leader of Tomorrow Gala. She is an avid mentor, a community volunteer, and an excellent litigator. We are really, really honored to have you here with us today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel privileged to be able to just talk to everybody. It's fun.
Love to hear it. So let's jump right into it. Can you just introduce yourself by telling us a little bit about your law school and career journey, research, and any fun fact that you would like to share with our audience?
Sure, let's lay the table. So hi, everyone. Katya just told everybody my name is Médgine. I am a commercial and civil litigation in Montreal, in a law firm in Montreal. I also do some insolvency, which is quite interesting. So I studied at University of Montreal in Montreal, Quebec. That was like quite some years ago. I'm trying to say what year, but I'm not going to tell my age. So that was like a long time ago. Okay. And then what else can I say? So I'm an immigrant. I'm Asian and Canadian. So I came here in Canada/Quebec when I was 16 years old. So it's been some time that I've been here. Yeah, so that's pretty much about me. Fun facts, I have a Teco dog, sausage dog, that is sleeping next to me. He's quite possessive, and I'm so surprised he haven't barked at you yet, because when I talk to humans, it's like, what the hell? So that's one thing. And also I'm the second of a full Black woman. So I have 3 sisters. It's just all woman club in my house. So that's about me.
We love to see you have a whole matriarchy going on at home, right? All right, thank you for sharing that. And we would love to see your dog, maybe at the end of the interview, a little peek if he wakes
When
up.
we're done,
When we're
because
done.
I'm probably gonna have to go.
Okay. All right, so let's continue. Like I mentioned, you've were a founding member of the Black Law Student Association of the University of Montreal. You've also been involved in creating many other initiatives to promote real diversity and inclusion within the legal community. I myself had the pleasure, the honor of being a member of the University of Montreal BLSA when I was doing my undergrad. So it's really an honor to have you here and to converse with you. Can you walk us through a little bit the process of putting together that chapter of the BLSA?
Okay, so we're going back, I think it was 2014, 2015, right? When that happened. I think I was like, I don't know, in the middle of second or third year of law school. So basically, there was not that many of us Black students. I have one of my best friend, notorious housing lawyer, Yorick Bouyela. He basically told me, girl, we have to do something because, you know, everybody's everywhere and then no one's together. And I remember it was like, let's just see what we can do. So at the time, we used to go to McGill a lot because the BALSAC was there. So they had the McGill chapter of BALSAC. And then one of my good friends, Stéphanie Deborajus, she was actually the president of BLSA Canada from 2015 to 2017, if I recall correctly. So she was like, well, if you guys want to do this, there's BLSAC, you can do this, that, and the third. So McGill really helped us with the idea of building a chapter at Udem, and with also how to do it, right? So there was no issue in terms of having the help of BALSAC doing the chapter, but the issue came when, for the university, to be more specific, the faculty of law. So basically, at the time, I mean, that was pre many things that we know now to be facts, right? You know, Black people dying and people seeing it on live television. So that was pre all of that. And then the whole concept of having the need to be part of a Black community was just like so foreign in law school. So we faced a lot of resistance because we were trying to disrupt the status quo. The status quo being that, well, you guys are there, there's no need for you guys to organize yourself or be together because you're creating a ghetto. And that's the word that was used back then. So what ended up happening is when we started the chapter, We were not able to become a student body under the Faculty of Law because they basically said no. So we ended up becoming a student body from the Student Association of the whole university. No, so not specifically the Faculty of Law. And then as time went, I left and I continue with my life. I understand right now we are finally able to be under the Faculty of Law. I think so, but back then that was not even a possibility. So yeah, so the steps is basically, I'll say I got a lot of help from the McGill chapter. I think McGill was really advanced in terms of those things. They had the classes, we did not, about critical race theory. There were all that conversation going there that we did not have at our school. And we ended up after class always going to their events, always going to their groups, because we're just like, we don't have that at our place, but then we created it. And then, yeah, it was basically the main reason why I was able to finish law school, because that group that I created basically created a space for me to feel safe and to basically exist. I'm not gonna say survive, but to basically exist/survive until I was done with law school. So that was the process. Yeah.
Wow. I love to hear how there was a collaboration between universities, between Black people, always coming back together and creating something beautiful. Love to
Yeah,
see it.
that's all we have.
Yep. That's all we have. Would you have any advice for a student right now who would like to create kind of a similar safe space or group in a university, in a workplace, or any environment that's not really conducive to that kind of initiative?
Yeah, so I'll say right now, people are really tiptoeing about that because there's a whole lot of diversity, equity, and inclusion talk that's going on. So there's like, I'm not gonna say more openness, but it's like more taboo to basically tell people stop creating a ghetto at school, which is what we had like 6 years ago, basically. So some people are gonna say no, because when you're trying to do something that hasn't been done before, you're basically creating change and you're changing status quo. If you're talking about law, it's really something that's ingrained with history, and then this is the way we do things. So law is not really subject to change and let's evolve and then boom, boom, blah. So it's really a rigid space, right? So what I'm gonna say is understand that people are gonna say no, not because your idea is not right or because you're not crazy, your initiative is not crazy. It's just basically that you're being disruptive, not in a bad sense. I think Black people have to be disruptive because that's how we create space for ourselves to exist in the system that we've been living in. So people are going to say no, but then what I'm going to say is to find the right people that understand and hear you, that can allow you to go to see your vision come forward. So in the sense of our initiative at Udem, when we created the chapter, we really got the help of McGill. Like one of my really close friends, she was the president at BLSA. She was like, what do you need? What can we do? Who can we meet? Like, how do you do this? So we were really not alone in the process. So I would say, go to the people, find your tribe, go to the people that gets it, right? Surround yourself with these people, because if you're trying to do it alone, this is not going to be sustainable for your mental health. And it's just not a good thing. So people are going to say no. It's normal. Okay. No means just find another way to get it done. And then just find the right people to just basically walk you through it. And yeah, that's what I would say to a law student. Yeah.
All right. Finding your tribe. I can't find any wiser words. So, your commitment to supporting and uplifting the next generation of lawyers is really unparalleled. You're a prolific speaker that has held countless of conferences that I have been a part of as well. You have spoken at the top universities, University of Montreal. You've talked about McGill, Concordia as well. You're always encouraging visible minorities to pursue the field of law. You've also acted as a mentor, as a career coach to numerous students of color. Why has community involvement always been a top priority for you throughout your career? Because there's always the type of people that are like, when I make it, y'all are gonna have to figure it out on your own, because you figure it out yourself. So why has it been important to you?
Honestly, not honestly, because what I've said before was honest. But what I would say is honestly, why am I saying honesty again? Jesus.
You're trying to make sure we know it's real.
I want y'all to know that what I'm saying is real. It's coming from my heart. Okay. So basically what I would say is, I want to be to others what I've never found for myself. Okay. So one thing I have to say is my experience, law school, intern, the bar, and now even as a lawyer, it's such a lonely journey. Okay, so I don't know how to say that in other words. It's just like the feeling of not belonging, the feeling of always being out of place, it's like there's a feeling of inadequacy, basically, that has been part of my entire journey. So I keep going back to myself back in law school, how it would have changed my journey, how it would have felt, how I felt throughout that journey if I had had somebody like me telling me I'm not crazy, telling me that, that what you're feeling is valid. It's normal to feel that way. So I keep going back to basically trying to be what I haven't had, right? And I also have a community-based mentality. So whereas if I'm winning, you're winning, we're winning, everybody's winning. In the terms of Issa Rae, we want Black people to win, that's it. So that's my mentality, right, going into it. So that's why I really take, it's like my duty. I feel I create myself. I don't have any duty because there's also a lot of pressure on Black people to do so many stuff. But to me, I think I created that as a duty for me to be present in the life of the Black students. I'm doing that for the Black student because I think this is where a lot of people stop. I have met so many people that that did not finish law school because of that feeling of inadequacy, of that feeling of loneliness, that feeling of not belonging, right? And one of the main reasons why I stayed and I'm able to speak to you today as a litigator is because I found my tribe of Black beautiful souls at the university that even I didn't have to talk. I could look at them and they would already understand how I felt at that moment. And that made me feel seen. That made me feel that I could keep going. That made me feel like I was not a crazy or cuckoo, you know what I mean? So that's why I do it. And the other thing is I keep going back to, I remember one day at Udem, they were doing some kind of exhibition with like judges on the wall. So you're looking at the hallway, there's like a bunch of paintings, not painting, photographs or whatever, of like many, many judges, right? And then as I was walking, I think I was going to my, like sûreté class or whatever, okay? And I was running late as per usual. And please don't say a Black people joke because that's not acceptable in 2021, but whatever. So anyways, I was walking and then I remember, I've been walking on that hallway for so long. I've been walking on that hallway, not feeling as if like, feeling like I was like basically planning to class, like, what am I doing here? Like, what's going on? And then I remember I saw the picture, of Juanita Haué, right? The first Black judge in Quebec. And she's also the first Black dean, I think, for the University of Windsor from 1999, she was named a judge. So I saw her picture and I stopped. And I don't know how to say that in any language that's like understandable, but I literally stopped and I was like bawling. First and foremost, you guys have to understand, I'm an emotional human and I love crying. It's like my favorite sport, okay? So I was there, I was just crying because my experience in law school was just in and out. I never stayed because I was so uncomfortable that I was like, let me go to class, let me go home, let me go to class, let me go to work. I never really stayed because I'm just like, why am I gonna subject myself to feeling like not comfortable when I don't have to be there? So when I was walking and I saw her and I sat and I looked at her, I don't know why, I knew she understood why I felt the way I felt, because she was the only picture in a sea of white judges. I'm like, this woman probably went through the same I'm going through, and she probably gets it. And for that was the first time I have ever envisioned a woman of color in a position that I aspired to. So to me, that was really like a big, big, big thing. So, I didn't speak to her. She didn't come to the university. She didn't do any speak, any talk, but just the vision of her in that wall, in a university that I felt did not come to serve me or to serve people like me. I just felt like, okay, we're doing this. And it's crazy. It's like the same year that we organized the BLSA Udem also. So there was like a lot of things in the air that year for us. So to me, that was really a key point in my like student journey, just seeing her. And going back to me doing this is basically just making sure that, I'm gonna be talking, I'm gonna be yelling, I'm gonna be basically pulling you and telling you not to give up. So there's that. I also had something else I wanted to add. So basically the goal of getting involved is letting the student know that whatever their feelings has been felt before. That's the reason why history exists. So you can learn from people before you, right? But if you don't have access to the people before you, you're thinking that you're starting the history again yourself, and that you're just so lonely and you're so small in what you're going through. But the more people we have Black lawyers talking about how it was for them back then, the more we talk about how we feel, how it's difficult, how we're just basically figuring it out by day, then you don't have to repeat the history first, and you don't have to feel alone in there. And that creates access to people that went through this before, so you don't have to go through it yourself. So that is the reason. That's a long ass answer. That's a long beep answer, but that's the reason why I do what I do, because honestly, all the pain, all the emotions, all the ups and downs, all the crying, all the, oh my God, I'm gonna quit that I've been through, to me, it is worth it if I'm able to let another Black person feel seen by me sharing my story.
Wow.
That's
Honestly, no words. And I just want to let you know that I'm one of the people that you've touched, because like you, walking through the hallway and seeing that only Black woman there amongst a sea of white men,
Yeah.
you were the person that I was at one of the conferences that Udem had put together. You were there, you were speaking about your experience as a Black woman, and I was like, if she can make it, maybe I can make it too. So I just want to say, like, your efforts are really not in vain, because you are really one of the reasons why I did not quit. And I thought about quitting 100 times.
We all do.
But we're still here. We love to see it.
I love how we're just like, oh, I'm gonna quit it. I'm gonna go back home, and then
Yes, every
I'm gonna
time.
let the white people deal with their thing.
Yes.
But here we are, still at it.
Here we are, still at it.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, absolutely.
And I want to talk a little bit about women here, Black women as well.
Yeah.
But according to the 2018 statistical report of the Federation of Law Societies of Canada, nearly half of the practicing lawyers in Canada are women. And I myself, doing my undergrad, we see it in the classrooms, majority are women. Yet, once they graduate, once they actually get into the workforce, significantly fewer women make it to senior leadership positions. What do you think prevents women from really securing those leadership roles?
So all that I've said, I want to press that it's based off of my experience, right? I haven't studied in that or whatever, but I can tell you what I think. And then I always say that what I say is not the law, right? You choose if you want to listen to me or move on with your life. Either way, I'm just happy and everybody's happy. So what I think there's an issue in the roles that we want women to aspire to. So we have to redefine those roles, right? So it's like we don't allow, it's like you have to be a certain time of person to be in that role. It's like you literally have to be molded into the role instead of the role being molded to fit who you are. And I think there has to be some kind of movement of redefinition of what a leader, specifically in the law profession, is, right? If you're talking about, for instance, law firms, you become a lawyer and then you become a partner. That's like the highest you can do in terms of hierarchy. And then a partner has to be this certain kind of way. Well, there's like a narrative that's going around that's like you have to be a certain kind of way, and then the way of leading is mainly based on masculine energy, when we have both masculine and feminine energy, right? So there has to be a movement and a redefinition of the role. That's first. And the other thing also I think that has to be is that there's not one way to lead. There's not one way to be. There's not one way to exist. There's not one way to law. There's so many ways. So yeah, a shift has to be done. And then the other thing is nobody, and I was going to say something, ain't nobody got time to die for a job that's going to replace you 5 seconds after you're done. Okay. That's one thing people have to understand. I'm a millennial and I am not going to kill myself with nobody. Okay. I am striving to be happy, blessed, and moisturized. So that's just how I see it. So I'm willing, because I have a lot of capacity, I have a lot of talents and gifts. I'm willing to put that to the service of whatever your company is. But then there has to be I'm not going to basically compromise my values as a human just to fit that role. So that's why I think a lot of women just be like, deuces, you know what I mean? And the other thing also is sometimes you're trying to be at the table. They don't want you to be at the table and you end up building your own table because I feel that there has been so many positive movement for women, specifically Black women throughout time, right? So we have been striving, we have been doing the work, we have been applying to high value position, we have been getting feedback, surrounding yourself with the right people, getting mentors and doing all that stuff. But at some point in time, the issue also in terms of why people don't get access to this role is if you don't create any inclusion. When I say inclusion is them not having to change to fit the role. Inclusion is the role being adapted to fit them, right? So when we do that, we don't have to go and build our own stuff. Because I see a lot of people, a lot of women leave and do their own thing and succeed at it. Why? Because companies just don't create a space that allow their greatness. Like we are multifaceted, we're not just one dimensional. So I think there has to be a dialogue because it's like we're talking and no one's hearing us. And then either way, we're gonna make it happen. It could be for our service or for your company. You get to decide.
So you talked about instead of trying to fit the mold and going to their table, creating our own spaces, creating and offering our own services.
Yep.
What else do you think would allow women in the workforce to break the glass ceiling and really establish themselves as leaders, not necessarily in the workplace, but maybe creating their own space to do so?
So I think Black women have been breaking, like I said, the black ceiling one by one and have been paving the way for women like me and like yourself. That's the first thing. So if I'm going to give some tips on how to keep breaking the glass ceiling, the first thing is no one's coming to save you. I keep saying that to people. I'm like, there's no Prince Charming. That's a scam. You should sue Hollywood. There's no one coming to save you. Like I'm sorry. So you have to take accountability for your life. You have to take accountability for your career and because it's yours basically to get, right? So the first thing is to make a plan. So what do you want? What are your goals? And then what do you need for that to happen? So what skill set do you need? What kind of, what kind of, do you have to take classes? What kind of qualifications you need for those goals to happen? So you have to figure it out, right? And there's not one way to figure it out. There's many, many, many ways. And then, I mean, I can want something, Katya, you can want something else. And then another woman, there's no right way to do this, but it's just that you have to decide what you want and you have to go for it, basically. And then in terms of after drafting your plan and basically getting all the skills and qualification you need to put that in place, you also have to believe enough in yourself to apply for those high positions. So I see many women, they turn around, they have like master's, doctorate, many degrees that are just sitting there and they're not applying because they still feel not qualified. So you have to basically apply for those those positions. And I think if you're surrounded by by the right people, if you're surrounded by the right people, I think one of the things I had trouble seeing the value in me sometimes, right? Even with my loud mouth. So now I'm just like, I'm not sure. Are you sure? But being surrounded by the right people, they tell me, girl, you're tripping. What are you doing, right? So being surrounded, like when I say find your tribe is going to tell you that you're tripping. They're going to hold you accountable and you're going to have to like keep going with them. And then finding mentors, finding allies that are in spaces that you want to be, that can create the road for you to get in there. So those are things also to work on. So leveraging your relationships, having your tribe, basically drafting a plan because ain't nobody coming, and find the skills and qualification required for you to get access to that. I think that is a way that Black women can continue basically breaking the glass ceiling, or the steel ceiling, because it's not glass at this point,
The steel ceiling. Wow. I feel like there are so many nuggets in this conversation that can be taken. First of all, Prince Charming is a scam. No one is coming to save you.
Yep.
Wow.
Remember, I cried, girl. I was like waiting for that man to come. I'm like, oh, he's gonna come. He's gonna have my plan for me. And I'm like, why is that? Like decades. I'm like, where? I'm like, I'm Prince Charming.
Oh, wow. That's giving share energy. I am the rich man that I need to marry.
Absolutely.
We love to see it. We're already like almost out of time. I'd just like to give you the final word to say anything to those that are listening, particularly students of color, Black students, Black women. The floor is yours to really just speak from the heart directly through them, whether it's giving advice, whether it's highlighting a quote that's been, that's touched you, that's been important to you, that's kept you pushing. You can just go ahead.
So, Bell Hooks died yesterday, and that was really sad. If people don't know where she is, I literally she's the author of that book, you know, and that book has basically drafted the Black woman I am today. So I really wanted in my interview to outline how it is a big loss for Black women, the fact that she's dead, and also how she has basically crafted the lives of so many Black women that I know that are striving right now. So one of the quotes that I have is basically from one of her books. I have read that book again yesterday because I was like crying in my bed again, you know, but she said, I'm gonna read it for you guys. So the book is Salvation, Black People in Love. So I'm gonna show it for anybody that wants to see it. So that's her book. And I basically just took this little paragraph. I'll read it for you guys. She says, often Black folks striving to succeed may feel bombarded and conflicted when expectations from Black peers and family differ from those of the predominantly white world they work in. These individuals may construct a false self to get ahead in both these worlds. This produces inner conflict, which undermines self-esteem. Importantly, the time has come for Black people to courageously claim our right to personal integrity and refuse to don a false self for anyone. In the long run, individuals who self-betray by always masking and pretending end up suffering. Their mental and physical health is wrecked in the process. So if there's one thing I can leave you with after hearing this is I have tried so many times to become a gentle, whiter version of the extraordinary woman that I am. And I have suffered a great loss trying to fit a mold that I created, that society created for myself. And then I ended up finding for my mental health that there's not one way to practice. I am assertive, which doesn't mean I'm aggressive. I am kind, which doesn't mean I am weak. And I am confident, which is not a flaw either. So what I would say is basically to define who you are and live your truth, because that's one way to love your Blackness, and loving Blackness is the best political way to fight against racism, patriarchy, white supremacy. So I would end on that note.
So powerful, so powerful. And thank you so much once more for joining us today at the BLSA Canada Fireside Chat. It was wonderful to hear from you. And we know that Black students across Canada will benefit from hearing our little conversation and your story and your advice.
Absolutely.
So,
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. You know, I'm always here for the cause, you know, Black women on my cause. So,
hello.
You know, so I want to tell everybody that wants to reach out to me, I'm quite there and available. So you find me on LinkedIn, and then it will be my pleasure to share with you snippets of whatever it is that you're going through that I can help navigate you through it. So yeah.
Lovely. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you.